The billionaire beat his wife every morning, until his gate man said this. Every weekday at exactly 5:30 a.m., Mr. Raymond Cole woke up. He was a wealthy businessman in his mid-40s, respected in public, feared in private. He owned construction companies, real estate, and transport fleets across the state. People admired him, employees praised his discipline, and the media called him a self-made man. No one ever talked about what happened inside his home each morning. His wife, Lydia Cole, usually woke up before him. She had learned over the years that being awake early reduced the chances of anger. She prepared his clothes, laid out his tie, polished his shoes, and ensured breakfast was ready on time. She did everything quietly, carefully, and without complaint. Lydia was not weak by nature. She was gentle, loyal, and deeply patient. She believed in marriage, commitment, and prayer. She believed that love required endurance. When Raymond first married her, he had been different. He smiled more. He spoke kindly. But wealth changed him, or perhaps it only revealed who he truly was. By 6 a.m., Raymond expected everything to be perfect. That morning was no different. Lydia placed his breakfast on the dining table and stood at a distance, waiting. Raymond walked in, already irritated. His phone buzzed with emails and missed calls. He glanced at the table and frowned. "Why is the tea not hot enough?" he asked sharply. "I just brought it, Raymond," Lydia replied softly. Before she could finish a sentence, his hand landed hard across her face. The sound echoed through the dining room. Lydia staggered but did not fall. She held her cheek and lowered her eyes. "Don't talk back to me in the morning," he snapped. "Do you think I married you to argue with me?" "I'm sorry," she whispered. That was how most mornings went. Sometimes it was a slap. Other times it was a shove or harsh words that cut deeper than blows. Raymond never saw it as abuse. In his mind, he was correcting a woman he believed was not good enough for his status. "You should be grateful," he often said. "I picked you from nothing. Without me, you'd be nobody." Lydia never defended herself. She never raised a voice. She cleaned herself up, changed clothes if needed, and continued with her duties. She prayed silently, hoping one day his heart would change. Outside the mansion gate, an old man watched all of this without being inside the house. His name was Samuel. He was the gate man. Samuel was in his early 60s, tall but slightly bent from age and years of labor. He had worked as the Cole family gate man for 8 years. He opened the gate every morning at exactly 6:45 a.m. when Raymond left for work. Over time, Samuel had learned to read the signs. On mornings when Raymond stormed out aggressively, slamming the car door and shouting at drivers, Samuel knew Lydia had suffered again. Sometimes, as Raymond drove away, Samuel would notice Lydia standing at the balcony upstairs, staring into nothing. Other times, he would see her later in the day wearing long sleeves or dark glasses even indoors. Samuel noticed everything. He had wanted to speak many times, but fear held him back. Raymond was not a man employees challenged. Many had been fired for less. But that particular morning was different. Raymond came out unusually angry. He kicked the gate slightly as Samuel opened it. "Are you blind?" Raymond shouted. "Why is the gate not fully open?" "It is, sir," Samuel replied calmly. Raymond stared at him, irritated, then entered his car and drove off at speed. Samuel stood there, troubled. A few minutes later, Lydia walked slowly into the compound garden. She thought no one was watching. Her face showed signs of fresh pain. Samuel felt something tighten in his chest. That evening, Samuel made a decision. The next morning, the cycle repeated. Raymond beat his wife before leaving. Lydia endured silently. But when Raymond stepped outside and approached the gate, Samuel did not open it immediately. Raymond honked the horn. Samuel remained still. Raymond stepped out of the car, furious. "Old man, have you lost your senses?" Samuel took a deep breath. His hands trembled slightly, but his voice was firm. "Sir," he said, "with all due respect, enough is enough." Raymond froze. No one had ever spoken to him like that. "What did you say?" Raymond asked slowly. Samuel looked him straight in the eye. "God has blessed you with a good wife, sir. A loyal woman. And every morning, you beat her like she means nothing." Raymond's face turned red. "Who do you think you are? This is my house." Samuel nodded. Yes, sir. It is your house. But she is your wife. And what you are doing is wrong. For a moment, Raymond looked ready to strike him. But something in Samuel's calmness stopped him. Samuel continued, his voice steady. Sir, I don't usually speak. But I cannot watch this anymore. Raymond laughed bitterly. You think you know anything about marriage? Samuel sighed. I know more than you think, sir. Raymond hesitated. Say what you want to say. Samuel took a long breath. I was once like you, sir. Powerful. Rich. Respected. I had everything. Raymond crossed his arms, impatient but listening. I loved money more than character, Samuel said. I ignored my wife's loyalty. I trusted her with everything. Raymond frowned. One day, Samuel continued, while I was busy chasing wealth, my wife sold everything we had. Houses, cars, accounts. She transferred the money, traveled abroad, and married another man there. Raymond's expression changed slightly. I lost everything, Samuel said quietly. Money, dignity, peace. And I realized too late that loyalty is rare. Silence filled the compound. Samuel looked toward the house briefly, then back at Raymond. Sir, you still have what many men pray for. Please don't destroy it with your own hands. Raymond said nothing. For the first time in years, he was speechless. Raymond did not go to work that morning. After Samuel finished speaking, Raymond stood beside his car for a long time. The engine was still running, but he did not move. His phone buzzed several times. He ignored it. For the first time in years, his mind was not focused on money, meetings, or control. It was focused on words spoken by a man he had never considered important. He turned off the engine and stepped out of the car. Go back to your post, Raymond said quietly. Samuel nodded and slowly returned to the gatehouse. He did not know whether he would still have a job by evening, but he felt no regret. He had said what needed to be said. Raymond walked back into the house. Lydia was in the kitchen, washing dishes. Her movements were slow. She flinched when she heard footsteps behind her. She expected another blow, another insult. But none came. Lydia, Raymond called. She turned slowly, fear visible on her face. Come and sit in the living room, he said. She hesitated. Did I do something wrong? Raymond swallowed. No. They sat opposite each other in silence. This silence was different from the usual one. It was not tense with anger. It was heavy with realization. I know what I've been doing to you, Raymond finally said. And I won't defend it. Lydia looked down. She had heard similar statements before, usually followed by excuses. She said nothing. The gate man spoke to me this morning, Raymond continued. He told me his story. Lydia raised her eyes slightly, surprised. He lost everything because he didn't value loyalty, Raymond said. And I suddenly saw myself clearly. He paused. I've been cruel to you. I treated you like you were beneath me. Tears welled up in Lydia's eyes, but she still did not speak. I don't expect you to forgive me immediately, Raymond said. But I want to change. Truly. That day, Raymond cancelled all his meetings. He stayed home. He called a counselor. He made arrangements for anger management sessions. Not because someone forced him to, but because he finally understood that wealth did not excuse violence. Change did not happen overnight. The first few weeks were difficult. Raymond struggled with old habits. There were moments of frustration, moments when he felt the urge to raise his voice. But he stopped himself. He remembered Samuel's words. He remembered Lydia's silence. He remembered the fear in her eyes. He began speaking instead of shouting. He began listening. One evening, weeks later, Raymond stood before Lydia and said, I'm sorry for every morning I hurt you. She cried openly then, not out of fear, but from years of pain finally being acknowledged. Raymond also changed how he treated others. He increased Samuel's salary and later moved him into a better staff apartment. But more importantly, he respected him. You saved my family, Raymond told him one day. Samuel shook his head. You saved it yourself, sir. You just listened. Months passed. The house changed. Mornings were quiet, not with fear, but with routine peace. Lydia no longer woke up trembling. She began smiling again. Raymond began to cherish her presence, appreciating her loyalty instead of resenting it. He introduced her proudly at events. He spoke kindly about her in public. He no longer saw her as someone who was not good enough, but as the one person who stayed when she could have left. One evening, Raymond said to her, "I almost lost you while you were still here." Lydia replied softly, "But you chose to see before it was too late." At the gate, Samuel continued opening and closing it every day. But now, when Raymond drove out in the mornings, there was no anger, no shouting, no fear left behind in the house. Just a lesson learned the hard way.